Pro Valorant's most insane team, PaperX, has just turned around a weaker start of the season into making the final 4 teams in Masters Madrid, with them inches away from winning their first major trophy. But what has changed from the very start of the season to now that has reactivated the sleeping giant to take down red-hot teams like Carmine Corp and Team Heretics? Well, it's 2 major reasons. First, of course, Forsaken has just started frying the other team, but also their newest addition, Monyet, has finally started to take off after struggling majorly. And it's all because of how he changed his gameplay, as well as how his team around him has changed to best utilize his unique set of skills that are different than the player he's replacing in Jing. But before we get into how PaperX saved themselves from Humiliation, I want to let you in on a little secret about what has been hurting my Valorant game recently. Crappy ping, which has led me to having a terrible time doing what I love, even when my internet is supposed to be good. That's where Gear Up Booster rescues my ranked games. Gear Up Booster is a free software that stabilizes your connection by changing 100 plus ping to 50, or reducing good ping to great ping thanks to their full access to a gigantic library of your favorite game's servers, giving you the perfect connection with one click of a button. And as someone that likes to try out different Valorant regions like South Korea or Europe, it's so easy to switch between regions while keeping a lower ping without a single spike. Also, don't worry about Riot's anti-cheat accidentally flagging you, as it's completely safe to use, as it just gives your connection the quickest and cleanest connection. So make sure you check out Gear Up Booster in my description or in the pinned comment to try it for yourself so you no longer have to deal with non-optimized gameplay again. So while you can't call PaperX's start to the season poor in traditional standards, as they still were able to finish in the top 2 at the Pacific Kickoff event, it was clear that the team changes from Jing to Monyet definitely were having some growing pain, as they were able to beat Gen G and T1 to qualify for Masters Madrid, but looked sloppy in the grand finals, losing in their rematch against Gen G in convincing fashion 3-1. With Monyet looking lackluster the entire time. And when they went into their opening match at Madrid against Edward Gaming, it looked like they hadn't figured out any of their previous issues, with them looking way less clean, losing to EDG 1-2 to be forced to elimination right away. And this is because of how they tried to play maps like Split, as they put Monyet on the race to fill the spot of Jing, but gave the comp a little of PaperX's magic to not only fill Jing's spot as a space creator with Monyet, but Something and Forsaken took up Jet and Yoru to also act as aggressive dive agents to take up space, resulting in a pretty chaotic attacking half that saw Monyet struggle as EDG adapted to the comp and read every satchel hop to stop him. And the defensive side saw Forsaken try to carry his team across the finish line, but ultimately fall short, with Monyet going 5-9 with a 1-9 ratio in first kills to deaths in the match, as he repeatedly got shut down whenever he pushed up, unlike Jing, who on defense could read the timings of the other team perfectly to get a kill or 2 and satchel back to safety to play with his team. Also, at times, PaperX would place him in locations that might allow him to get a first kill, except EDG, like other good teams, are able to force him out of their positions with more util than PaperX can muster with their 3 duelists, resulting in him taking more passive fights, resulting in losses. And with that, they lost Split 9-13, with Monyet getting only 10 kills to 20 deaths, putting them in elimination. So what has changed from this match to now that allowed their key players, Monyet and Forsaken, to come alive and allow them to survive elimination twice to make it to the playoffs of Masters Madrid? Well, first, they changed their comp on Split, as it was clear they needed more util to really compete, so they tossed out the Yoru and instead moved Monyet to his other role, on Omen, to give them more smokes, and had Forsaken take up Raze, as he has proven that he's the more consistently explosive player on this map, allowing both of them to fit better roles for this specific map. They also had Devi on Sky, which gave them another flash and info gatherer, no longer just resorting on their Raze to soar in blind, like how it worked with Jing. This ended up much better for PaperX, as Forsaken continued to be his unstoppable self, picking up where he left off on Yoru, dominating on Raze as well. And with the space creating role being off his shoulders, Monyet got to work more in a support role on Split, which fits him better specifically on the Omen, as he's more able to sit back and work with his team, resulting in him picking up a few important clutches, something he had done time and time again since the start of his career. But that didn't mean Monyet wasn't still their main Raze player, as on both Bind and Ascent during their elimination game against Carmine Corp, Monyet returned with something to prove with his Raze. We will first look at a round during Bind. In the bonus, they have something on Reyna peak first, as they put the hero rifle on him. They did this last year as well, due to his insane aim, and he gets a lucky shot to open the round for them. But here's where Monyet is able to capitalize off this quickly, satcheling on top of site with the help of Reyna's eye, where we actually see flashes of Jing as he picks up a 2k on Tamazi and Magnum to give them complete control of the site to plant. And with that simple but effective combo, they're able to win the round and set up Monyet for success. And this continues for the rest of the map, as they continue to have Something and Monyet playing off each other with their great combos resulting in highlights like this.
Hasn't quite lived up to that, and again, the pace is unrelenting. Look at this, Monyet and Something instantly dominating the space, and it's going to force them to respect this. I would say Magnum is a little behind enemy lines, but can he make anything of it?
It's going to be tough. With only a Sheriff in hand here. Oh yeah, will land.
Are they going? Yeah, the gap closing now. Monyet going to be put to test, put to task. Oh, that's rough. Blinded, and Monyet just popping off. Yeah, farm him up. Even spotting the right there. Over towards Shybox. This guy's on for it. He's absolutely on the money today.
He ended the map top fragging, going head to head with Narrate until he ended up winning it out, taking an early lead in the matchup. And on Ascent, he continued to be a more critical part of his team, with him being one of the key reasons they're able to push it to overtime on the defensive side, because of an impressive round like round 15. They have Monyet playing on A with the 2 controllers, so they can be aggressive but have smokes to get off site if he gets overwhelmed. Carmine go for a split attack from mid, but Monyet's positioning allows him to throw a nade to cut off Martine from the rest of the attack, slowing them down. And at the same time they try to attack from A main, but Monyet is able to read this with his team and move back on site to take Shin out as he peeks. But Martine comes up big with a first kill on site on Devi, leaving Monyet all on his own, and it could have gotten really ugly for them. But this is where their other key player, Forsaken, is able to bait them forward in Garden, and Something is able to flash them to kill Narrate. At the same time as this madness, Monyet stays active as he fills the space in A, so that when the Omen smoke fades, he's able to get an aggressive kill on Martine as W Gaming prevails as they hit all their shots. They went on to come back from an 11-8 deficit to win in overtime, in large part to how Monyet figured out when to take space and when to give it up, like we saw in this round. But of course, Forsaken had a huge map on Fade, with him going 22-18 with 4 kills. But ultimately, they as a team were able to close it out in the first overtime to clinch their spot in the playoffs of Masters Madrid, only a few wins away from finally lifting the trophy that long eluded them. And with Forsaken and Monyet finding the perfect balance of who should be filling the void Jing has left on each map, has allowed them to stave off Humiliation against Carmine Corp to move deeper into the Masters. So with Paper Rex now in the final 4 teams in Madrid, they'll be facing again against their new rivals, Gen G. So how do I think they'll do now facing them for a 3rd time? Well, it's definitely going to be a lot closer than their last matchup, as Paper Rex has a lot more reason to really put their best foot forward, as it could be the reason why they finally win a major trophy, or continue their top 4 choking curse that has followed them for years now. Well, it's going to be a tough one, as Gen G is looking red hot right now, with each player holding their own, as Texture and Karen lead the way with unbelievable multi-kills and jaw-dropping clutches. And I would still have to give it to them, as Paper Rex looks a lot better than when they played last time. But like their last matchup, Gen G will continue to find ways to shut down their explosive playstyle of this team, especially with so much practice against them, that there won't be too much that they wouldn't already know. Well, I think on the day, it'll be a coin flip to see who actually makes it through. I would believe in Gen G more right now from what I've seen. But Paper Rex has just looked better and better as they get more comfortable with Monyet, so it's definitely going to be a fun one. So subscribe, and thanks Gear Up Booster.